Moments ago, Vice President Vance announcing a new position to combat taxpayer fraud in Minnesota and beyond.
We have actually activated a major interagency task force to make it possible to get to the heart of this fraud. We are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
Let's bring in House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, a Minnesota Republican. Welcome to you, sir. Okay, so where does all of this go next?
Well, hopefully where it's been headed ever since President Trump, Sandra, did a Friday night truth posting about the fraud in Minnesota and the Somali theft. We've been trying to sound the alarm on this fraud for years. There was an Oversight committee hearing yesterday where the witnesses confirmed that this has been out there for more than a decade. A lot of us have been sending letters and requests and trying to get the media to report on it. It wasn't until Donald Trump actually made it an issue that it started to move. And the assistant U.S. attorney, the U.S. attorney in Minnesota, estimates the fraud under the Walz administration, Sandra, could top $9 billion. I mean, there's daycare fraud, there's autism center fraud, there's housing stabilization fraud. There's the largest pandemic fraud case in the country, $250 million. And by the way, of the 86 people charged, 90% of them come from the Somali community. So this is a huge problem in Minnesota. We do not believe that it's isolated in Minnesota, but very grateful for the administration making this a top priority because Minnesotans deserve better.
We were talking to the Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer just a short time ago. He thought that the $9 billion that appears to have been identified thus far could just be the tip of the iceberg, and that it could go a lot deeper than this. The vice president, you probably saw, he had a briefing just a short time ago. He was asked about Governor Walz. Here's his characterization of the governor.
Look, Tim Walz is a joke. His entire administration has been a joke. The idea that he's some sort of freedom fighter, he's not. He's a guy who has enabled fraud and maybe, in fact, has participated in fraud. That's what this new Assistant Attorney General position is going to find out. I don't care what Tim Walz says. I care about getting to the bottom of this fraud for the American people.
So he thinks that Governor Walz should resign and resign now, not wait until his time in office is up. What do you think?
Totally agree. I mean, you could try to argue that this is just gross incompetence, John, but you're talking billions of dollars going out in the 7 years you've been governor. And yesterday, by the way, the witnesses in that Oversight Committee hearing all said that Tim Walz knew about the fraud while it was happening, literally was told by whistleblowers about the fraud, and he not only ignored them, John, he retaliated against them. So I agree with the vice president completely. Tim Walz is a buffoon. He's got to accept responsibility, stop being a coward. He should resign, and he'll likely, if he doesn't, leave the office with cuffs on his hands, on his wrists, because there should be criminal charges based on what has happened.
Got it. Okay, interesting. The White House, meanwhile, has created this new role to fight taxpayer fraud. Do you think it's going to help?
I do. I think this is a problem all across the country. Like we know, Minnesota happens to be a priority for a lot of reasons because it's just so rampant. But get ready. I mean, once they see what's been happening in Minnesota, they're going to see the same pattern in other states. It's time that the American taxpayers be respected, that people understand these dollars are intended for the children, for disabled, for single mothers. We can't let fraudsters, and in my state, Somali fraudsters, come in and literally rip off the public and send the money back to terrorists like al-Shabaab in Somalia. Which, by the way, Sandra, that's why I'm going to be dropping legislation that provides that anyone who commits fraud, comes to this country and takes advantage of our generosity and refuses to assimilate, they can be denaturalized and returned to their country of origin. Any type of fraud, by the way, Sandra.
So we're looking forward to another hearing of the Oversight Committee next month, at which we will see, but it's expected that Tim Walz and Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, may attend. Some fireworks yesterday during that hearing, most of them, it would seem, between the chairman and Congresswoman Summer Lee of Pennsylvania. Listen to this exchange between the two here.
Ms. Lee, the IGs are hired to identify fraud. They haven't identified fraud. The IGs have failed. But anyway.
You all have failed.
No,
you all continue to fail.
Have
We've
failed.
done nothing. You've had the gavel, Mr. Comer. We barely do hearings on anything that actually affects change.
You want to spend
have
more
power
money,
here,
more money,
and
more
yet
money.
you don't do anything.
I mean, she was incensed over the firing of 17 inspectors general, which the chairman said hadn't been uncovering fraud, so why should they get to keep their jobs? But, I mean, it wasn't really so much an investigation on the Democratic side into the root of fraud in Minnesota. It was just yelling at the Republicans.
You know, John, it's much like what is so disgusting about what Tim Walz is doing right now. He's using a tragedy that took place in Minnesota yesterday. He's literally pitting Minnesotans against federal agents, and he's doing it to deflect attention away from his incredible incompetence and perhaps complicit behavior in allowing this billion-dollar fraud scandal to develop over the course of his representation as governor in the state of Minnesota. So I'm not surprised that the Democrat on Jamie's committee would try to scream and yell and divert attention from what the real issue is. And think about this. Tim Walz and Keith Ellison, our attorney general, didn't find any fraud in 7 years, and a young YouTube journalist named Nick Shirley found more fraud in 1 day than they did in 7 years. It's hard to understand unless somebody is complicit and not just looking the other way, and we need to get to the bottom of that.
All right, sir, we appreciate you joining us here on America Reports. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Congressman.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.